We've got Certified Lover Boy by Drake. It is 21 songs, an hour and 26 minutes long, and I've been waiting for 3 days
Dude,
just to do this.
Drake. So Drake needs no introduction, but I will say that Drake's season on Audioface is a particularly fun time because Sean and I get
Oh,
to put aside our yearly differences and go in
I go
on,
zenith. I go in it.
on Drake's latest event. And this one's especially interesting because last time there was some like rap beef sort of between Drake and Pusha T that happened, and that was barely even rap beef because Drake dropped some bars and released some verses, and then Pusha T bullied Drake into becoming a better father, just like somersaulted into
Probably
the room.
one of my favorite rap beefs ever.
Yeah, and like it's probably one of the cleanest rap beefs because ultimately, like, no one was really in danger of like the
No
actual
one got
ugly part of rap
shot.
beefs. Yeah,
No
no one's
one,
getting shot.
no one got stomped. It was just Pusha
Drake
T
and
just
blackface.
exactly.
Just humiliation. That's all we need. Just
And
absolute humiliation and shell shock from Drake. Honestly, he looks shell shock in interviews talking about it afterwards. But now we have a beef between Drake and Kanye that is mostly being instigated by Kanye West. By the way, this is the most mid rap beef ever.
most boomer rap beef ever.
Yeah, and the the beef essentially, yeah, like I said, it's instigated by Kanye West and came out in a number of different ways. And one, it was putting all of them in a group chat of some kind, like Kanye West and Pusha T saying these all cryptic things that seem to be like, "Oh, I'm coming for Drake. I'm doing all these different things." He released, Kanye dropped an Instagram photo of Drake's address in Canada, kind of like semi doxing him. It's not the hardest thing to find on the internet, of course, but like it's like that's a vibe. Drake responded with laughter. There were apparently some like diss songs going back and forth, but Kanye West released Donda. It was a big wet fart. All of the diehards and fans are like still in their like post orgasmic shakes over it, while everyone else is just like, this is an album barely of that. It's a collection of songs. Some of them might be okay, but a lot of them are not that good, and we have a Donda review
Mhm.
for that. But Drake's album release was just okay. Now that Donda's done, now that the firefighters
I
have
like
put out that
Christmas
garbage
stuff.
heap, he dropped a ad teaser on Sports Center that was like, "Hey, Certified Lover Boy's dropping this Friday." And then we saw the album cover, this atrocious fucking thing next to our heads. And
Hate
then
this thing so much.
that's also the album cover for this podcast episode too. So y'all are definitely going to be getting a lot of it. And
I
it's
apologize.
unbearable Drake as always. With a bunch of like pregnant women emojis on it, and that's kind of like the theme is that, this is Drizzy, he's out in the streets, he's has remorse for fucking his fans but still does it anyways, and he's a dad and he's grown up but he's got, things to say. And Drizzy, I don't know. That's kind of what you get in with champagne poetry. You kind of get almost like a old Kanye esque, like trying to get into like the vocals of like you're using vocals as like the layering
Yeah,
of a song, and it's like a beginning sort of abode. Champagne poetry, Poppy's home. Like this is Drake. This is just Drake. It's the milk toast inoffensive pop star that people hate to love and love to hate, and it's there. In my first
yeah.
estimation.
And then Drake comes out as lesbian in the next song of Girls Want Girls, so that's a new thing apparently. No, I'm joking. The main theme of this record is it's nothing of like absurdly offensive, right? It's not bringing Marilyn Manson and a baby on stage just to try to make yourself relevant again, or to like force your ex-wife to come on stage in her wedding gown and you just to force her through some more torture and all that shit. But it's just very lackluster and boring, and the lyrics of it just get really whiny and complainy here or there, and there's um the typical Drake themes of love and betrayal and like, am I gonna find the right one for me? He does own a son though, finally. He's like, in Champagne Poetry, very first scene, he's like, yeah, I have a son, I'm gonna do this stuff for him. I'm like, wow, finally. It took Pusha T stomping on you in order for you to finally acknowledge him slash give him like the attention he deserves or this or that. But a lot of this stuff, it's just for somebody who's 34 years old, like you got to grow out of this phase, my guy. Like you can't be a certified lover boy creeping on like teenage pop stars and stuff.
Netflix stars too.
And Netflix stars and all this other stuff that you've been doing and whatnot, and make an album like this. The features are okay. Love All with Jay-Z isn't Jay-Z doesn't sound like he wants to like end his life or anything like that, like he did on Donda of just what is this? The Love All is a decent track. I thought it's Jay-Z's part. It sounds good. Fair Trade, Travis Scott, man, Travis Scott really fucking sucks. Man, he dropped off pretty bad. My worst favorite thing ever is Way Too Sexy with Future and Young Thug. It is the worst, best song that has come out this year. And it's going to be a song that Dan and I inadvertently love to hate, but then we end up like singing it together, getting all ratchet and stuff every once in a while because of how bad it is, yet how hilarious it is. Also, the music video is beautiful.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack from this. So first of all, for the old heads in the audience / us, you'll definitely remember the "I'm Too Sexy" song from the MySpace days.
Yes,
it is exactly that sample.
It is that sample. When he put that sample on, I literally had to pause it, and I was like,
I pulled over. I had to pull over in my car and just go. Drake did it.
In rush hour traffic, so I couldn't pull over. So I was just stuck, between some Ford Broncos and maybe a Raptor here or there.
I was not expecting to be. I was not expecting to be like in the year 2020 and have to think of Right Said Fred ever again.
Right. It's just, I sat there and like, you gotta be kidding. And then Future comes on and says, too sexy for this. And this is no more Future voice. Like, this is, I couldn't handle my laughter. It was just beautiful.
It's
poetry emotion.
So again, when I'm trying to do more of these reviews, when we're trying to do more of these reviews of artists we aren't even particularly privy to, I try to get perspectives of fans and people who are like into these artists. And I'll have some comments from like one of my Drake fan friends in a moment. But one thing I definitely noted with this friend was that Drake is at his best, like unironically. He's truly at his best when he's not taking himself too seriously. When he's like part of the joke, when he's trolling, when he's kind of like having fun in his own
like
right.
Look at Nonstop and stuff on Scorpion. Like that's where Drake is at his best.
Yeah, or Hotline Bling.
Hotline Bling, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, when he's kind of just like playing around and like that's what we would want. Like we laugh about art like Bruno Mars, artists who are like very full of themselves and like kind of like are very busy like building a persona and can't like have actual fun with themselves, right? Versus artists like Vince Staples, who like in their very serious persona are actually like deadpan hilarious, right? So like there's other different like ways to do it, and Drake at least there's that personality there that comes out in these songs where it's like Drake gets his gets a body double that has like a beer gut that's hanging out on the beach, so just funny. Like checking out models and shit. Like he's Drake. He doesn't need to do this. He's doing this because he's at the top, and what else is gonna do? Like Kanye's at the top, and he's like having some weird spiritual experience, and that's like putting it very nicely.
He's having mental episodes in front of us, and
yeah. Drake's at the top, and he's gooning. Like he's just messing around. Like he's just like having a fun time. Like he's just having a sport. And like I'll even though I don't like a lot of this music, I definitely think Way Too Sexy is a high point in Drake's career. Young Thug and Future's features, and just like this album in general.
Future's are actually good. I didn't hate Future for once in my life. I actually liked his voice, his auto-tuned voice, like fit the song very well.
Also, can I say that the true winners? There's only one group of winners from the Drake Kanye West beef, and that's all the people who featured on the album because these are all the same fucking features. And they all just got paid. They're just counting bands, man. Like Lil Baby, Jay-Z, just like whatever, niggas, keep fucking fighting. I don't care.
Travis Scott is like, keep it up.
Yeah, I won't even have to release a double album after this shit. Like that's amazing. It's so. There are a lot of features that are shared on here. In fact, one notable feature, not noticeable feature, but maybe say a notable credit, is that the song TSU, Robert Kelly is listed as a collaborator. And so it appears that even with Certified Rap Lover Boy, there's a rap beef between Donda and which collaboration was more offensive. Either TSU that has a production credit with R. Kelly, or Kanye bringing, who's in jail and facing charges that we've talked about ad nauseum on Audioface to the point where it actually makes me ad nauseum, and to Kanye West, who brought DaBaby and Marilyn Manson on stage. And we've talked a lot about DaBaby and Marilyn Manson ad nauseum as well, to the point of ad nauseum. And so, first of all, I don't like to get into this like which terrible thing that could have been entirely avoided, that was the choice of the producers and all of the men in the room who did this, is worse. But since we're having the conversation, R. Kelly is listed there as like a production credit. So like they sampled something of R. Kelly's, and so by not so it samples Half on a Baby from R. Kelly's 1998 single. That's 1988 single. And so because of that, like that's just customary. You give production credits to things you sample. It's almost like a legal thing. So yeah, R. Kelly gets that credit. That being said, you could have just chosen to not use. You sampled way too sexy. You can definitely choose a lot of things to sample on this album and like make it work.
You could probably find some other random YouTube song from 2007, like Chocolate Rain, or some other random shit to bring us into the 2020s, just to instead of R. Kelly, but you know, each their own.
Yeah, and it's the. Never mind the whole like relationship between R. Kelly and Aaliyah and the fact that Drake has an Aaliyah tattoo on him. And never mind Drake's history with like his tattoos meaning absolutely nothing.
Never forget when he had to cover his tattoos during the NBA, but don't talk about that.
Ad nauseum Audioface. But I again, like I don't like singing a judgment call like which is worse. Both were bad by Kanye West and Drake. They're both really unavoidable. But I think Kanye West with the Kanye West with the DaBaby Marilyn Manson thing was a very clear like publicity stunt to shock
because
people.
He brought him,
whereas this was a bad choice on Drake's thing.
Is the big thing. He brought him out on purpose to shock people and be like, "What the hell?" and get news headlines. That way, more people will go and listen to his piece of shit album and all that. And then instead of just using a sample, which easily could have been avoided, but it's like, okay, it's nothing terrible, because it's not like it's really popped up on the record or anything. Like it's, you know, you have to look through it. Like us music people really know it, but to the average person, they might not know, or they might recognize it here or there, but if they don't know the R. Kelly track, they're not going to necessarily know it.
But there is some significance to this, and it is that we reported on Audioface, I think episode 200 or 201, that R. Kelly is hurting because he can't even sell his song catalog. He's not making, I mean, he's obviously making money off of streaming and otherwise being a well-off celebrity, but like the legal issues have been hurting him financially, and he's like down to a lot of his last ropes here. And so, yeah, again, good. We're not asking for sympathy here, but that's the situation, and Drake is helping him by being Drake and giving him a production credit and using that on his album. So R. Kelly will be getting money for his increasingly ridiculous and offensive defenses for all the things he's allegedly done in these years-long, very, very documented, with multiple people talking about it cases. Drake is complicit very directly in that. And so, like, what's worse, what's here, that it's been done and it's very easily avoidable. But moving on, because this is a long ass album. It's an hour and 26 minutes, which is somehow shorter than Donda. And I'll say, like, I've been talking a lot, but I'll say this as far as the album goes. Like I felt with Donda, this is a step in the right direction for Drake. Like Donda was a step in the right direction for Kanye West. This is
100%, because the mixtape that came out earlier this year was really just reiterated shitty trap that just comes out. Like if you listen to Landed, you've heard a track like that 1,000 times done over. But at least with some of these tracks, like example, Champagne Poetry coming out at the beginning, it sounds like he's finally going back to kind of his older roots, but then mixing it up with different sounds and stuff he's heard. Naturally, he's going to have you're still going to have the trappier songs. It's going to have the things that are cookie cutter necessarily, but he's having fun again. He's not like like he said earlier, he's at his best when he's not taking himself seriously, and he's doing that throughout the record. And that's where you get the good Drake. That's where you can have fun. You can do other stuff instead of him trying to be super hard when he's not hard at all. And yeah, even the track, which is my favorite track on the album, going down because after TSU you have In Too Deep with Future, and that's kind of whatever. But going down a little bit further, you have Knife Talk with 21 Savage and Project Pat, and Metro Boomin on production too, and which I have, first Metro Boomin track I've heard this year, or maybe that he's produced this year, and that track goes hard because you have 21 going like off his normal 21 self, and it's hilarious, like per usual. The production is incredible, but this is where you get a problem with Drake because you put a song with Metro and 21, and those are two really hard dudes. They're talking about, shooting dudes up and talking about all these other things with guns and all this stuff. And then Drake comes onto that track and he almost disrupts the flow of the track because he doesn't sound hard enough compared to 21.
I mean,
the track is really good. I like it a lot, but
so I actually have a. So it's funny you mentioned that because in like there's a lot of songs to talk about here, so I can't sample all of these. But later down in the end, you have I Am Y2 with Kid Cudi.
Yeah, with Kid Cudi.
And I think it's that along with Knife Talk, because I agree with what you said there. It doesn't like Drake trying to fit into like a hard rapper persona has never worked, will never work, because you simply can't believe the Degrassi guys got it in him at no point in time. And like time has only proven that out. That being said, Drake as a recording artist, when he's collaborating with other artists, tries to do a good job of meeting the other artist where they're at. And so like Drake's lines in Kid Cudi, like Drake's lines in the I Am Y2 song with Kid Cudi, and the way he's like matching Kid Cudi's kind of like layered, processed, auto-tune-ish crooning thing. Drake does that processing to his own voice. He kind of does the similar flow to his own thing to fit in a Kid Cudi song, because otherwise the two things wouldn't work together. You'd get kind of like Kids See Ghosts, where Kanye and Kid Cudi kind of work together, but they're also too much for each other. There, Drake met Kid Cudi where he was at. And so you similarly get that in 21 Savage. Yeah, Knife Talk too. Drake's trying to meet 21 Savage where it's at. Drake trying to be gangster is just something that's never worked transparently, so we're able to do that.
But he lets them do. He lets 21 and Metro do their own thing.
Absolutely, and that's
which is great. Which is great because that's where they get to shine and honestly pick up this album, because that's 13 songs in. That's like about an hour of Drake, which is a lot of fucking Drake to listen to, because these tracks are long too. That's another note, because we've been getting longer albums necessarily track wise, but a lot of the tracks tend to be 2 minutes long, or 2.5, maybe 3 minutes. These are like the opening track was 5.5 minutes long. You have a bunch of tracks almost hovering on that 5 minute mark, mid 4 minute mark, like 3:30. So you get a lot of these longer tracks, like Knife Talk is 4 minutes 3 seconds long. So that's a bit of a bucking trend of a lot of not just trap and hip hop and rap, but a lot of pop music and stuff that we've been getting this year too. But with all the features get to shine in their own way. Like it's not necessarily cohesive because they're very different, but they get to have their own sound in there, which I think is good.
Drake has his very own tried and true sound, and that doesn't really change too much. I'll say lyrically he's a little bit tighter, but like lyrically he's long plateaued. 7 a.m. on Bridal Path is the most like direct to Kanye like disses you get, but even then it's very much you get the kind of person who's like slapping a fly off of their shoulder, like this isn't a big deal to them, just like brush it away. Which is to say, like, Drake could have made the rap beef more intense. I mean, come on, dude. He gossip, like as you mentioned in the song, he brought like gossip about your family into the rap game and like did that. And fair or not fair, like you have a lot of things you could go for, but
you can go on full gas. Like you can make so much fun of Kanye, dude. You have so much unlimited ammunition with Kanye. You can go off on him, and you don't.
Yeah. Well, he kind of did, but more on that later. It completely backfired. There's an Andre 3000 thing, but we'll get to that outside of the review and into the actual thing.
I forgot about that.
rounding out the review, because it's been a weekend. Rounding out the review, compared to Donda, again, there's a good amount of features. I don't think too many features. You need a good amount of features because Drake on his own is just too much of a drone at this point. The Drake drone. You get that through Class G airspace, but you probably wouldn't be able to with there's a good amount of features on Drake's album in comparison, and the features definitely help bring the album up, and you get a whole variety of Drake sound. You unfortunately even get Island Drake with Fountains featuring Thames a little bit, but there's two different things in this conversation. This is a good album for Drake. This is better than, I mean, people don't consider Dark Lane demo tapes. Oh, that's a playlist. Care package. Oh, that's a playlist. Okay, it's better than Scorpion. I like it more than More Life and Views. I think it's his best since. If you're reading this, it's too late. But that being said, Drake albums, Drake as a project, like if you want groundbreaking rap music or like good, even like standard rap music, we've been going all this summer with artists like IDK and artists like Genesis Owusu and all these other different things who are just like killing it out there right now. Um, and then folks that even others have young who've heard of who are like getting their time in the sun now, like Young Thug, etc. Um, who have just got this talent better, and it's like time to kind of give them their time. Drake is very much, even though he's like in his 30s or whatever, and Kanye's getting up there as well. These are uncle rappers, very much in our time.
Yep, and we've seen it before our eyes. Um, arbitrary skill this week is how many dondas does this album get? Intonation required as well. This gets a solid seven dondas, but with 2 quick dondas, so 9 total. Asterisks.
Okay, I give this. I give this a similar score to yours. I'm gonna give this 6 regular dondas, like the standard donda,
Yeah.
and then 3 of your short dondas, so donda, and then 2 medium ones that are kind of in a questioning way, like donda, donda.
Right.
No, that was like a longer one. I'm talking like a medium. Donda, that's like longer. Donda is a medium.
Donda?
Yeah. It's all in the intonation, folks.
Exactly, it really is.
And if you actually think an A or like an actual score rating system would make sense, Peppa the Pig would like to have a word with you.
And that's why we do that.